then it limits me from being able to enjoy later. So I have to make sure that I put my money in assets and buy assets as much as I can now, so that then I'll be living la vida loca later, and I recognize it's going to take time, but I can tell you, in a few years' time, I want to travel to wherever. I'm not using my active income to pay for my cruise, to pay for my whatever. It is coming from an investment, whether that's interests or dividends, and which is how it's supposed to be.
Yes. You never truly know people until you take the time out to get to know people. This lady right here is the real deal. If you're looking for a financial coach, you're the real deal. Rina, on this platform, I'm very, as I told you off camera, I'm not here for Udaku. So if you say you can't talk about something, I completely respect that.
Okay.
Can I ask why you don't want to talk about it though? If you can share, if not, I'm not going to put this in the camera.
The company you just named?
Yes.
I was sued by those guys. So I choose to just take the fifth there.
You don't choose balance. I get it. I get it. I think I've understood it. But that is an example of
So let me explain. The Capital Markets Authority did not approve certain products that you see out there that have conned people.
Okay.
What happens is that some companies, will get approved for something specific and then use that as their marketing gimmick to then say, oh, we are this, that, the other. Or you who've seen that they were approved for something, make an assumption that this thing is approved. And yet it is not. So there's many things that are out there, even crypto stuff. Somebody sent me something the other day that there's a company started by some lady from a foreign country that is mining Bitcoin. I was just like, this thing has red flags from the word go.
Yep.
You look at the CR12, it's one individual, a foreigner, starting a mining business, you put in a certain amount of money, bring in others. I'm just like, guys, it has red flags all over it. So even the presence of mind to ask, has the Capital Markets Authority had a look at this? People don't have. Why? We're always chasing returns. Because that becomes my focus. How much money am I going to make from it? And Kenyans have lost billions.
Chasing returns.
Chasing returns. The first thing people have to ask themselves is, what is the risk I am taking? And one of the things that I love about the Islamic faith, even though I'm not a Muslim, is the way that they invest. Because one of the things that they emphasize is the fact that there has to be an underlying business that makes sense. We're not just financing air. What are you doing with this money, right? So one of the things is, what is the underlying business? Where is this money going? And what is it going to do? So that's something you always have to ask yourself. Okay, so Richie has come up to me with this investment opportunity. Sawa, I'm putting my money, I'll get X% return. All right, what's my money being invested in?
Yep.
And how do I make my return? And what is the likely return I'm going to make? And then I weigh the risk that I'm taking, the return, does it make sense? Because an investment is somewhere I put my money, delay my fun and enjoyment now so that I can enjoy later. And it has to compensate me.
Yep.
It has to compensate me from preventing myself from enjoying now. It has to compensate me for inflation, because inflation is going up. That 100 bob I've put here, in 5 years when I get my money back, because of inflation will not be 100 bob, it will be 90 or less. So the return has to be above inflation.
Yeah.
And then lastly, what's the risk I'm taking? And by the way, there's always risk. Even when I choose not to do anything and I say, let me keep my money in my bank account, there's a risk.
This bank.
You want to get us in trouble?
No, I mean, it's
but anyway, it's public information.
Yeah, it's public information, and it no longer exists.
Yeah.
Rina, money is so important. We can't what's the word? I'm not here to mess up with my audience. I'm not here to play games with them. CT has become so influential that I've realized people make life decisions based on what they listen and hear coming out of people's mouths on this seat. It makes me extremely cautious about who I put on this seat. I'll take time. There are times when I don't have content. The reason why I don't have content because my underlying thing is integrity.
Okay.
You get, especially now, by the time it comes to money, I'm cautious. Not to say that there haven't been times when you've had losses. And I'd love to hear stories of, it's not always good for you. You know, we sometimes, like, is there a time when you maybe invested in something, but then something happened and guys lost money?
Yeah.
Does that happen?
All the time. Well, not all the time, but it has happened. It has happened. I think, I mean, I can only share my own stories.
Yes.
Because I'm here to talk about myself.
Yeah, of course.
So, I mean, through my journey, again, I told you I started in theater. And one of the painful journeys was getting into an investment opportunity that a friend who was in theater came up to me and said, oh, you know, this guy has written this play. We want to put it on DVD. This was many years ago. And we don't have the money. Can you invest? We'll pay you back by this time. And we'll pay you 20% within 9 months because we will have recouped all our money back. And I gave them all the money that I had at that time. And that's where and I lost all of it. And they never gave me back any money except for 20,000 shillings.
Wow.
And I had put in 500K.
Wow.
And that's all the money that I had. And I remember walking up to my dad. I was so stressed. I was so upset. I was so angry. And my dad then told me, do not ever lend your money to friends. And that's where that story of never lend, give. So that was one of my first failures.
And say that never, just explain to somebody just that small nugget.
So what his theory was, and he said that he learned it over time, was when you give, when you lend, there's always an expectation that you have that somebody will pay you back. So you've lent your friend, you've lent your brother, you've lent your cousin, and it's like, where's my money? When they don't pay you back, then you start to resent them. And it starts to affect your relationship with them. It always does.
Always.
Always does. So he told me, when someone comes to you with a need, lend me 20K, lend me 100K. Just check, what do you have that you can afford to give? Is it 5K? Is it 20K? Is it 2K? Just tell them, this is what I have to give you. And then forget about it. And I will tell you, even if you don't tell them I'm giving you, you will just never get that money back. So when you give, just give. Whatever the amount is, and don't expect back. So give an amount that you can give and forget about. So that's the lesson that he taught me.
Wow.
Well, my parents have taught me many lessons. So that was one of the ones that came from loss. Another one was Forex. So, you know, all these stories of Lamborghini, I don't know, Maserati, I don't know what. I was like, hey, this Forex story, I think it's a good one. I want to try it myself. So I met a guy. And I can't remember even how I met this guy. He was referred to me by someone who's a trader. And the trader then said, you know, I make this amount of money. I think he told me 4% a month. I'll make you 4% a month. And I give him my money. Got a few others to give money. It wasn't a business decision. It was, this is me.
Yeah.
And we lost and basically told him, stop. Let's cut our losses here, and took our money back. So what was the lesson there? I think getting into an investment opportunity that you don't understand is so bad. Why? I didn't know how to check what is the risk he's taking. I didn't know what pips were. I didn't know there's leverage of, 1 to 400, and I don't know he's taking, I don't know how much leverage. Then I didn't know that there was all these different, the season we're investing in, there was so much going on. I think Brexit was announced, and you know, that they were thinking about Brexit, and then there was going to be a referendum about it. And so there's so many international events that were going on at the time we were choosing to invest, that it was extremely volatile at the time, and we lost quite a chunk of money. So I guess another thing I've learned over time through losses is you don't know what's going to work. And it's just like, just invest in different things.
You're a risk taker.
I am a risk taker.
You're a risk taker.
I am. I've done all kinds. I mean, you know, we've done Bitcoin. I have Ripple. I don't know Cardano. I have all these crypto. ETC, yeah. Plus others we cannot even talk about. So, but by the time I was investing in crypto, I had done my research. I had understood. There were things I still didn't know, and I made a conscious decision to take a risk on what I don't know. And we made money in some of those things, lost money in others, but the money that I invested, even if I lost completely, is not money that will change my life. So that's just how I've chosen to invest. When I don't understand something fully, but I still want my skin in the game, I invest not too much, because if I lost it, then it doesn't make me kind of, you know, struggle and lose my sleep.
Yeah.
So again, you have to have money that is just safe. It is there. It is, you know, but you also need to take a few risks. And so I've had really amazing opportunities where I've invested in different companies through venture capital, angel investing, or what you would call private equity, where we've gotten really good returns.
Can you share one, if you can?
I don't know if I want to.
Okay,
yeah,
okay, no problem.
The point is,
I get it. But
yeah.
but I like what you're saying. You're just saying on this other end, it's also been wins.
Yeah.
But with the wins, then let me ask, what do you then do with the wins? The profit, let's call it profit.
So I've reinvested it.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was unexpected. I honestly, for those ones that we invested in, I didn't actually expect to get the money back.
Okay.
And so when we got it back for those particular ones,
yeah,
it was like, wow, let's reinvest this money.
Okay.
But you know, you enjoy a little and then invest the rest. Yeah.
I was like, hey, you're not going to Lambo. We're just going to be pressing to the moon.
But investing is very interesting.
Yeah.
There's somebody who taught me something, and this guy was just an online guy, and he said, you know, use your money to make more money, and use the more money that your money makes to then enjoy.
Okay.
So I remember when I needed a car. Richie, I drove my car for 16 years.
Rina, what?
16 years. I had that car.
The green one?
No, the white one. You forget the RAV4.
Oh, yes.
I had it for 16 years.
What?
Yeah. So it got to a place where now it was
you had it for a minute.
I had it for a long time. And I was like, I want to change my car. But then I struggled with spending the kind of money that I would have needed to be able to get a car.
And you wanted a certain caliber of a car?
I mean, I wanted a good car
Yeah.
that could last me another 16 years, like a good car.
Yeah.
But of course, I'm not going to keep the car that long. But the point is that I needed another car. But I was like, now, do I spend this kind of money on a car? So do you know what I did? I got an idea from somebody. And I don't know whether to get into the details, but I got into an investment, let me put it that way, that earned me the amount of money that I needed for this car. And so I bought my current car from profit from an investment.
What?
Yeah.
So you put a goal to the profit, though, in this situation?
Yeah, I knew what I wanted.
You put a goal to the investment.
I put a goal to the investment. My investment was, I want to invest to buy my own car.
Wow.
So got some money, invested in that thing, and then got my returns, and my returns were sufficient for me to buy a car. So that's the thinking around, and that's where I'm going. So that then
it's a mindset.
It's a mindset shift, because what I am earning now, if I use all of it to enjoy, then it limits me from being able to enjoy later. So I have to make sure that I put my money in assets and buy assets as much as I can now, so that then I'll be living la vida loca later, and I recognize it's going to take time, but I can tell you, in a few years' time, I want to travel to wherever. I'm not using my active income to pay for my cruise, to pay for my whatever. It is coming from an investment, whether that's interests or dividends, and which is how it's supposed to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's such a different mindset from the majority story that we hear, because to buy the car that people want, people use debt. Exactly.
So I could never, in fact, yes. I'm like, how do you spend 5 million money you don't have to buy a car just because you have access to that? Use the 5 million to invest in something that will buy you the car eventually.
Wow. Rina, that's a mindset that we don't have. And unfortunately, educational system and a lot of things didn't teach us these things. Social comparisons and all of these other things, the pressures of life can stray people to make those wrong financial decisions. Let me call it as is. Let's talk about you becoming a mother. I'm sure that must have been so transformative for you.
It was.
Yeah.
I have a sister who's, well, she's not a biological sister, but I have a sister who, till today, she's like, Guy, Rina, your mother.